There you go, professional. Episode 1, Follow D Money Podcast. Welcome to the first episode. Okay, I'm gonna drop it. Welcome everybody to the Follow D Money Podcast. Right now, I'm sitting here with a gentleman that I spent some time with today. I've heard about what he does, and I wanted to experience it myself. So I went on a walk and talk tour with my man Sampson, and he's sitting here with me today. And we're going to get into it, and I would like to introduce everyone to Sampson. Welcome to the Follow D Money Podcast.
Man, appreciate you having me on here. Appreciate you joining me this morning as well.
First, I want to ask you what I ask everyone. I ask them to introduce themselves, tell us where you come from, and how you came up with the idea of what you do.
All right. Yeah, so I'm Sampson Levingston. I'm a lover of Indiana history. So that's what I describe myself as. And it's multifaceted, but when, loving Indiana is looking at things that we've done right, things that we've done wrong, and then telling that to people.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I describe myself as. I use Indiana to discover myself. And so in talking about what led me to doing what I do, I'll try to sum it up as quickly as possible. But
I want you to be thorough.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've always loved history. And so once I graduated college, I went to Indiana State, played football, always found identity through sports.
Yep.
And so once I was done playing, I was like, man, who am I? And so I started traveling. And it's kind of a weird way to try to figure it out. But I started traveling Indiana and looking how different stories in our history could teach me about myself.
Yep.
And I was doing this just for fun, just driving around, just looking for stories. And eventually I came to Indiana Avenue, right in my hometown, a place I'd never learned about, especially in school, loving history as much as I do. I'd never heard about the Avenue and this history here. And so I wrote a story about it. I was writing all these history stories. And
what were you writing the stories for?
Just for me.
You?
Yeah,
Just
it was a blog, but also people are reading it. But mainly it's for me.
Right.
Even these tours, it's a personal thing, in a way.
Yep.
And so when I was writing just kind of in the story, if you ever read any of the writing, it's mainly before the tours, it'll kind of bounce back and forth between what's happening in Indiana history and what's happening in my life. And it'll see the parallels in it. And I'm trying to learn from stuff.
Yep.
And then the pandemic hit, Black Lives Matter movement. I know this Indiana history. I know it well. I know things that have happened to Black people in this country. And people are starting to ask questions. And people are cooped up in the house. And when I went down to Monument Circle for one of the protests, I felt this energy. I need to talk to everybody.
Yep.
And so I said I would host a tour. And then from there, I've really been rolling. I've done over 500 of them.
Dang. The thing that kind of is incredible is you do that. How did you get it set up? Because I know you can't just say, I'm going to do a tour.
Right.
And people just show up. You still have to have some kind of organization involved with that.
Right. It was just mainly on Facebook. That was my main audience for posting my Indiana history stories.
Yep.
And so I would write about our history. I would try to share it with people who I thought may be interested in it. And I started to build a following. And so people who kind of knew me had never met me. This 23-year-old, 24-year-old Black person writing about Indiana history, traveling around, making these YouTube videos about look where Black people used to live, all history too. When I went to Grant County, I was talking about James Dean. He's from Indiana. Yep. And so I like all our history, anything that interests me, but I'm looking for Black stuff and Black people.
Right.
And so when the pandemic hit and people were following my page, I was like, maybe I can lead a walk-in history tour and let people know kind of what this thing's about. We're not going to comment on each other. We're not going to block nobody. We're not going to delete nobody's post.
Yep.
We're going to walk and look at each other in the face like human beings.
Yep.
And you can ask me a question that you're afraid to post. You're afraid to type, what does Black Lives Matter mean? You don't want to type that because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But as you're walking and talking, and even though it's a crazy question, right?
Yeah.
These are questions I get. Why people say Black Lives Matter?
Right.
These are questions people ask me, right?
Yeah.
But you got to break that down to some people some way. And I was able to do that with these walk and talks. And even for people who knew this history well, knew exactly what I was going to say. And I just wanted to provide a space to talk about this history in Indianapolis.
Okay. Do you find yourself still learning more? Like, what does the tour look like What's the difference from the one you did today and the first one you ever did?
Oh man, I've learned a lot, from people, from like the city, from the things I've seen just by walking around. I walked that same area, and you probably kind of picked up on this while we were walking around. But you notice different things when you're walking, and so the avenues change in a way. And so like the Vonnegut Museum is open. We can bang on the drums. We can interact with different things. So like it's definitely evolved with different stories I've got. But really, we're pretty much going the same route. We've changed it a little bit. But the biggest thing is that there's tours now all over the city. So I do like 12 different neighborhoods.
Dang.
Just walking and talking about
So
Indiana
you
history.
don't. So that tour is not the tour. You do a bunch of different ones.
Yeah, but the tour is that tour, and also like the 2-hour Indiana Avenue tour. That's the first one. It's a 2-hour, 2.5 mile. That's like I'd call like my I don't even know, my manifesto. That's
Right.
exactly what I want to tell people about what I'm doing. It's me in my purest form, and I get to do that over and over and over and over again. So I get to refine that.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
You have it down really well.
And
you command attention, which I really respected.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, because we were there, I was there with some kids, high school kids, and they would not be paying attention sometimes, and you'd be like, I need y'all to listen to this.
Yeah, well, it's important stuff that we're talking about,
Correct.
and I know that it matters to them, and so I want to just like draw them in because I know that they'll have some thoughts. I do the same thing with adults, like
Right.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it was because it was, but you did command it.
I have to tell them like, hey, can I just get your eyes first, and not look at them like I don't want to try to make it so I'm singling them out. I'm not mad at you. I'm like, hey, can everyone's just eyes be on me while I'm looking like you're the problem over here? But yeah, I think it's important. I think the history itself commands attention, and I say it's not. I'm not doing it justice if I just let people just half-ass listen to it.
Correct.
Right? Because like it's a story that needs to be told and heard because it will influence your decisions.
Yep.
And so,
but they're also, to me, it's almost like they could be wasting your time because it's kind of like a person who watches a movie and gets up and lets it keep playing.
yeah.
Like, you don't know what happens and you don't care.
Right.
But with the history, you could miss a vital part of what you were saying.
Right.
And if just by not paying attention, you miss something very, important.
No, I agree. I think people maybe not know what's interesting. We kind of get told what's interesting to us, and we reject things that we may think are lame or boring or stagnant or just played out. But like, no, this history is a constant thing, and it's always happening. Everything is history. So when I say my title is Love of Indiana History, I just do whatever, essentially. I mean, I lead these tours, but I can do whatever I want with that title. And so I'm always trying to get kids to understand all this is related to everything, this history.
That's nice. What has been the hardest part about doing your tours?
The hardest part, I don't know. It's kind of just been a really organic experience, and I kind of try to let things happen. But I think it's tough sometimes when people are really familiar with the history, when people lived in that neighborhood or they grew up, they went to school there, whatever tour it is. You want to make sure you're telling the story that they would want told.
Right.
While also trying to kind of educate them in a way and also creating a space where where you can learn from them. And so like, I don't like to be quizzed. I don't like when people come on the tour and like, do you know this place? Have you ever heard of this store? I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because maybe I have, maybe I haven't. And I could quiz people all day and then make it an uncomfortable experience.
Yeah, right.
So I like to learn from people. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges. Just like, sometimes there are people who may know more than me, which is great. I need to learn.
Right.
So like, I'm 28 years old. How can I know everything on the avenue?
Right.
There may be somebody who grew up there. Yeah, we need to create a space where you can teach me, I can teach you, and we can have good conversations. So that's kind of a challenge, but also it's a beautiful thing to balance too.
It is. What about it? What about the tour are you most passionate about?
Getting people to physically walk the space. I think there's so much value in that. You can watch as much YouTube, you can read about as much as you want to, but to physically walk these places and to see them and to see what's happened to our city and how it's been shaped, and then to think about other cities where it applies to, I think that is what I really take pride in, like getting people to the avenue. That's why it was important to me that you were there. You know,
Yep,
like
yep.
you got to see this. You got to
Yep.
see what I'm talking about and why it matters so much to me. You know,
Yep. There was a moment during the tour where you stopped and you wanted everybody to recognize that nobody's walking around.
yeah.
And I think that spoke volumes because one, you would bring out pictures and you would compare it back then to now, and the density of population and the difference between that then and now is remarkable.
Right.
So to be walking around and see a downtown, one of the biggest cities in the country, and nobody's walking.
That's odd.
Yeah,
You know,
weird.
like that's weird. And some of these people don't understand that growing up. They're like, that's odd.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always this way.
And people don't even question it.
No.
It's just like this is how Indy is downtown.
Right,
Like,
this
that's
is
it.
downtown. Nobody walking around. There's parking lots everywhere. Like, no, that's not a city. You know, that's
Right.
not how it should be. Like,
Right.
what used to be here? We're in the heart of the city.
Right.
There had to be something here.
Yeah.
What if I told you it was 30,000 black people?
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
like, that's something that kind of opens people's eyes. Like, damn, yeah, there would be people walking around.
Right. It's wild. And if you go to Mass Ave and you go to Fountain Square,
Right.
people are walking around
Right, you
in
see?
the middle of the day.
In the middle of
All
the
day.
day. Like, that's one of my favorite
They're
things.
there.
They're there. People are there. It's neighborhoods, there's shops, there's businesses,
Yeah.
things you can patronize all up and down those quarters, and the avenue is still essentially a vacant space, you know, waiting to be reactivated.
Another interesting thing, I don't know if it could be explained without the visual that you did, but I would like for you to explain how the streets were allocated, because I never even thought of that shit.
Yeah,
I never thought of that.
No, yeah, our streets are, and I like to kind of share this on the tour too, but just think about the diagonals, okay? And then you can start to piece together everything else. But like, think about Mass Ave, you know, that's on the northeast quadrant. You got Virginia on the southeast part of the country, Mass Ave, northeast part of the country, Kentucky, southeast of Indiana, and northwest, the old Northwest Territory, claims the name of that northwest quarter of the city. And I think that's cool to see that this city was planned. We had a planned capital city.
That's so. I mean, that to me, that's dope.
It is perfectly. I like, because I say the same things over and over. So like, I know how I like to say this. We got a perfectly planned capital city,
Right.
And I think it's crazy not only to point that out, because I want people to understand why Indiana Avenue is where it is. I want them to also understand we're in the mile square. We can't get no closer to downtown than what we're in.
Right.
We're in it. We're in West Street. North, like I explained to you, north, east, south, West Street.
Yeah.
We're in that box.
Right.
So
They put all that in a box of north, west, and south.
All
Street.
mile square. When you ever hear the mile square, that's
Right,
it. That's
right,
it.
right.
North Street's a mile. East Street
And all the streets
yeah.
are located where they are on the map around
and,
Indiana.
And at the time, too, you got to think, like, as we're plotting this out, and it's 1820s, so we don't have all these western states, you know. And even on the full tour, because you're from Cali, right?
Yeah.
You'll see California Street, and it'll fit right in. And so like,
That's so wild,
yeah,
bro.
it's a cool thing, and it lets people know also that Monument Circle. I let people know she's facing south, Lady Victory.
Yep.
That's a Civil War monument. I like to say that's a Juneteenth Civil War monument. So people can be like, huh, what do you say? Yeah, okay, I guess. You know, but yeah, that's a black lady up there. Might as well just tell them that. Bronze.
She's facing south.
Facing south.
Yeah.
She's got to keep her eyes down there south of the Mason-Dixon.
Right.
You never know.
What do you want from the tour? What are you trying to get?
I think that's a question I kind of get asked often, and my answers change over time. But really, I'm confident in people, and when they have better information, people are good actors. I think most people maybe unintentionally aware or unintentionally making decisions that are harming or affecting communities.
Yeah.
And once they learn about the history of Indiana Avenue and what happened and how it happened, and yes, the city made progress in ways, but also look at these neighborhoods that were knocked out, and they learn this and they hear about this and they start thinking about different neighborhoods that are changing, how our city's shaped, how their hometown's shaped. And then I hope it influences their future decision-making as much as possible.
Okay.
And so when you get this information about the city or whatever, there's going to be something, some moment of the tour that you remember. And it's like an aha moment where you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then it starts to kind of influence what you're doing. And over time, I've given this tour so many times, and it's a slow game, but like, you know, I'm really trying to influence and change the way that my city sees their city. Not only to see the beauty of it, but also to see the flaws and to recognize how you can highlight the beauty and uplift the flaws by looking at what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong and kind of trying to merge that together.
Yep.
And I think sometimes we're just oblivious to what's happening, right? We're just living our life. Oh, that neighborhood sucks. That neighborhood's great. We're not aware of what's happening.
Right.
You know, I want people to look into it and just kind of, you know, think about what decisions they want to make in the future, because we've already made some bad decisions in the past and good ones as well.
We have.
Yeah, you know.
And I mean, I think the most important thing is educating ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know?
And learning, like knowing history helps you move forward in so many ways.
So many ways.
And I don't think people understand that. But you do have to do work to learn history, and that's where we fail.
Yeah, and you can't just look
too much work
for things that you want to hear as well. And so like I try to maybe bridge that gap for people where they want to know history, but also they kind of want people to explain it to them in a way, and they want to be able to ask questions. I think sometimes it's cool that my tour is like, some people will describe it as like a walking documentary, but you can now talk to the movie.
True.
So you can ask the movie, why did this happen? Or hold on, go back. I don't understand that. And hopefully I can give you the answer. But I think that's a unique experience for people, you know?
I do also like that you do trivia.
Yeah, we do
on the tour.
yeah,
trivia. I won.
Yeah, he did win this. He won music trivia. I sampled from J.J. Johnson, Indiana Avenue artist.
I won it.
So.
I won. I was good. I want to talk a little bit, because being here as long as I have, I've been here a while now, but I've never, until recently, I didn't know the culture of jazz in Indiana was so huge.
Yeah.
Like they have a rich history of jazz.
It's crazy. And it's just like, it's something that I feel like was just swept under the rug when talking about our history and our value. And you even heard me on the tour. We've devalued Black spaces and faces and history all across the city, all across the country. And so am I surprised that people don't know about this? Not at all. But like, have we ever placed the appropriate value on it? No. So that's exactly why. And so now I think our city is starting to realize the value in sharing these stories.
Right.
My whole tours work because, man, I'm talking a lot. But that's what I do. My tours. Forget what I damn near was saying there.
You were talking about the jazz and.
Think here.
Well, I will say this though. There was a small point that you made about
I remember
how things are kind of hidden from us, where that mural is on a street that goes one way.
Right.
And if it's a one-way street
in a driving city.
And you have a mural of all these famous jazz musicians on the back side of a one-way, you can't see it.
It wasn't like, hey, we got to make sure this is seen.
Correct.
You know, what I was kind of getting at, I think one thing that I do is that everything I do is very Black focused and centered. And so even if I do a tour in Carmel, we're going to talk about the Black people that lived in Carmel. Because that's what I want to talk about. Yeah. And there's value in that. People like that. Right. And for years, we've neglected that and not seen that. And so now that we're starting to, as a city, draw attention to that, they're starting to value these Black stories, things like the Butter Art Fair, things like these jazz musicians and legends at Crispus Attucks. We're starting to see the value that's always had. Now we're starting to learn about it. So like, the value matches the level of education. And I think as a city, once we start to value our history the way that it deserves to be, then more people will know about it.
How do you feel about it's kind of a national attack on history and how it's being told? Because I think that the way that you told the history, very welcoming to everybody, I would say, because history doesn't lie.
Right.
One.
Right.
But we're seeing that history now, the truth is starting to hurt.
Yeah, the problem is that history is, like you said, it doesn't lie. Yeah. So people don't want to look at that. It makes them uncomfortable. But there's no reason to be alarmed. This happened. The problem is if you don't want to learn from it.
Yeah.
Now we can't see it.
Yeah.
Right. So like, if you have no problem learning from history and looking at, okay, like I said, I trust that good actors with more information will make better decisions. I think we're good actors as people. I really do. I know we got some wicked minds out here, but I think we're good actors. People know that. So what they're deciding is, how about we just restrict the information so they can't know it and they can't act good? Because once they know about what's really happened, they're going to behave different.
Correct.
As we all would, as most people do.
Yep.
If you told me that, like, I don't know, hey, there's one of these rooms where the door does not open once you go in and one of them does, I'm going to ask you which one. I need that information
Right.
so I can make a decision which room we're going to record the podcast.
Right.
I need the info.
Yep.
They're deciding we're going to just restrict the info and let them just go blindly and make decisions without knowing things, which I think is a dangerous thing.
That's unfair.
Why would we not teach people the truth?
Right.
And why are we hiding from that? And it's only because we're afraid to learn from it, not admit it. We got to admit it. It happened.
Yep.
Who cares? If I knock your drink over, I don't need to admit it for it to happen. The problem is, if I don't want to talk about it, because I don't want to learn from it. I'm willing to repeat that mistake. I don't care about that. You know, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing.
Yeah. That's a slippery slope when it comes to that, too. And I think that people are trying to protect the feelings of certain groups. And I think that the truth is going to naturally make things change.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
The truth, it's a old phrase, the truth shall set you free.
Yeah, man.
And I think that the problem is we haven't ever been taught the truth.
No.
But now that the truth is being out, you're starting to see a lot of shifts and changes in our social dynamic, and that's the problem.
And the truth is starting to be accessible as well.
Correct.
You know, a lot of this information that I want to know, I can look it up. There's people
It's
who
all
have
out there.
done a lot of research. I can verify with different sources, read newspapers. You know, like, it's real history that we need to know and learn, and we all played a role in it. And nobody's attacking nobody. Like, that's the thing about this tour. We're not on here talking about, if you're white, you're evil, we hate you.
No.
Like, no, that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. I talk about all of this history, and we all play roles in things that are good and things that are bad, but we just got to know. Like, we have to know.
Yep.
And that's why I felt like the tours was like, I felt like I had all this information in my chest.
Yep.
And just to tell people, not to say I'm the only one who knows, but to tell people was a good feeling, because I was like, man, I'm happy you guys know what I know.
Yeah.
Because I think you'll act differently. Because like, it influences my decisions, and I don't think it's influencing everybody else's. I don't think they know what I know.
Correct.
Like, I got to let them know, you know? And so for kids, adults, whatever it is, I'm always just trying to let people know the things that I've known and learned about our city.
How would people, if they want to go on a tour, how do they go on a tour?
They can book public tours, and I do those online. I normally do like 5 a month in the summer. And those are kind of small, capped at about 15, and all in the Marion County tours. Up in Carmel, we're capped at 12. But those cost more. I know you got it. So those are a little bit smaller.
How do they find them?
And that's on the website, through2eyes.com. You share that. If you search Walk and Talk online, Walk and Talk Indianapolis, it'll pop up, I promise you.
Yep.
And then groups book them as well. So companies will reach out to me, and a lot of companies got a DAI initiative. That's great. You can come check a box with me if you need to. You'll learn a lot for sure.
Yep.
And other companies just want to come. You know, they want to come. They come year after year after year. They bring their whole staff. And so a lot of organizations reaching out, booking to send an email, and we get them set up.
Okay. Some more stuff that I learned on this tour. Little fun facts about Indiana.
Yes, I love Indiana fun facts, man. I got them.
What is the state food of Indiana?
The state food. Okay, so we have a state.
I didn't know
we have
this.
a state snack.
State snack.
Yes, and that's popcorn. Popcorn is a state snack.
That's
Over
crazy.
Renbacher, he's from Indiana.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he's actually from a western town called Brazil, Indiana. They do a big
I know where
popcorn
Brazil is.
festival. I went to school in Terre Haute. I went to ISU, so I had to go. I had to go through Brazil, man. I knew I was getting close.
You said John Wooden is from Indiana?
John Wooden is from Indiana as well.
Dang,
yeah, he's from here. He went to Martinsville High School.
I did know that.
He was the leading point scorer, I think, in like the 1920-something state championship, 5 points. Yeah, if he dropped 5. Dropped
He
5
was a
in the
leading
game,
scorer.
leading point scorer for Martinsville. But then
he was a baller with 5 points.
Yeah, with 5 of them, man. Like went on to Purdue. We went there and he coached at ISU
I
for
still
a
can't
year.
get over. He had the
Yeah,
five.
5 led the team in scoring.
Legend,
Legend, man.
legend.
Legend, man. It's funny, them old basketball pictures. You probably seen them like history, like how they pose.
Yeah, they be like,
like
well, and they had the chucks that you had on earlier.
they do, and they like, I'm like, what? What are they on? But yeah, John Wooden's from here. We had Chuck Taylor's from here, from Indiana. Like,
dang, that's crazy.
We talk about Oscar Robertson all the time. How could we not on Indiana Avenue? That's a name that resonates with people.
Yeah.
Being from here and. Yeah, even like when I present to schools, we'll talk about Hank Aaron and his baseball career. He got his professional start was in Indianapolis. He had a Negro League baseball team, the Indianapolis Clowns.
Wow.
We had two big teams, had a couple. Even Noblesville had a black baseball team for a little bit, which is just crazy. But Hank Aaron started playing here, so we got a lot of like legends that made their way through here, or played here, or stayed here, or whatever.
It's a rich history, and
it is.
I'm gonna say this before I forget. I won't forget to say it, but I must say that going on the tour, you gave me life about the city. You showed me so much, and it just opened my heart to the city. You know what I mean? Like I've been on this journey where Indiana has been growing on me.
Yeah,
and I'm starting to embrace it a little bit more. But going on your tour was like I had icing on the cake, and then you were the cherry. You know what I mean? It was like you were just like the perfect last touch. And I swear to God, bro, I will tell everybody to do that.
No, thank you.
Because it was you are organized, you are informative, you are knowledgeable, you are passionate, and salute to you.
Thank you, man. And that's kind of how I want people to feel. That's how I felt when I first saw that jazz mural, like for the first time, and I was like 21, 22 years old. I was like, whoa, like,
yeah.
I'm getting chills thinking about it now. I'm like, damn, this is it. Like, this was it. This is what I was looking for. I was looking for all this stuff. I'm like, it's right here, and I didn't know about this.
Right.
And to show people that, and to let them know that like their history is here, and to see like big black faces blown up. It's crazy when I do a field trip and kids turn the corner and they may not have taken a picture all day. They've been walking with me. I've showed them Walker Theater, you know. Yeah. But when they turn that corner and they see those faces, they pull their phones out and they're like, damn, there I am. I'm here.
Right.
And then we turn, they see Madam Walker, and they're like, they pull their phones out and they're like, wow, this is my city.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was. Like, there is no record of Indianapolis as a city without black people living in it.
Wow.
So if you're telling a story about Indianapolis, you can always include black people, you know, and that's what I try to do. And I think when you do that, it makes everybody feel like, not just black people, but everybody feel like this is a real city that had a heartbeat.
Right.
And I was wondering you're probably wondering, where's the city's heartbeat? Like, where is this city? Like, where is this city's heart at? I don't understand. It's like, oh, it was over here. Correct. Okay, that's it.
Correct.
That makes sense now.
And that makes complete sense with my experience here in Indiana, because I never really dove into the history of the state.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't allow myself to embrace its culture.
Mm-hmm.
So once I understood it and started to learn it, it became a little bit easier to handle it and operate and move around in it.
Yeah, I think it's something that, like, growing up here, I've always and growing up, like, mainly around white communities and schools and things like that for the most part, something like just navigating what Indiana is like, but also, like, I love it. I love where I am. I think it's, like, important for me to embrace that, encourage people to embrace that. Some people don't want to tell me where they're from. If it's like a city like in Hamilton County or even like in Martinsville, like, because they know they've got some bad history there. But if you're on this tour, I think I believe in you. I think you're a great person. I think you're going to take this information and do better with it. So tell me where you're from, so I know there's good people from there.
Right.
You know, and take pride in that space. And so in doing that, I found value in Indy. I try to have people do the same thing. I tell them you could walk around your own neighborhood, learn about the people who were there. I bet they were incredible, and know that you can do something like they did.
Man, that's dope. What do you do away from the tour? Like, what do you do for fun?
The greatest thing is the tour is what I do for fun, but I play basketball, I hoop, man.
Okay,
Hoop, so
okay.
I'll play a little bit. You may see some reels up. I shoot the rock. Everybody knows this. I shoot the ball. It's crazy. I just have to
You shoot the rock.
I'm gonna send you clips so you can just understand he's not bullshitting, you know. But
You a baller.
I like to play basketball. I like to just work, run around with my friends like in the morning. Go to this workout group Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yep.
November Project. I have a good time. Seeing them, you know, and I train at this gym, Day One Indy, so I teach classes Mondays and Tuesdays.
Okay.
So bring that energy over there.
Yep.
Then other than that, I'm just chilling, man. I'm a sun guy. You're not gonna see me out at night. Rarely.
Dang. Okay.
I'm a sun, fun in the sun type of guy, man. So
you came in a tank top.
yeah, I was like, man, I was feeling good. I was like, all right. But also, I get excited. I know when I talk, I get excited. I start sweating and shit. So I was like, let me wear something I can sweat in. But really, that's what I just kind of hang out, play basketball, and then just kind of figure out different friend groups and organizations and things to get involved with. But I really started to like the life I've created with the walk and talks and like letting that kind of shape all my decisions. Really, like it does. Like if you're focused on anything like an athlete, you know, like that kind of needs to be what's fit. Like your decision needs to think back to like, is this helping me with this, what I'm trying to do? And so that's kind of how my decisions are made with the walk and talks. I'm always trying to get more people to go and get them to grow, but also in a way that I like, you know, organically. So pretty much everything is all around the walks.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if you listen to the podcast ever, but I always ask one question of every guest, and I ask, how would you define success?
Yeah.
And I want to know your definition for sure.
For me, I think it's, you know, creating I think it's always kind of like evolving. Because at different points, I would think this is like a successful moment for me from 3 years ago. But also, I think I'm constantly kind of trying to. This is something I recently thought about. I did this event with Lululemon. I got to shout them out because I'm an ambassador, so they give me a lot of clothes. But talking about Lulu, we went to this event, and they said, like, what are your 4 cornerstones, or what are some different pillars of your life? And it made me think of it being like self, place, education, and movement, you know, and saying like, I value myself. These are like my values. Value myself. I value my place, Indiana, or wherever I am within Indiana for the most part. I value education. I value knowing things, and I value movement. What am I doing with what I know? What am I doing with the value of myself, the value of my place? If I have it all and I'm not moving, I won't feel right. I learned that during COVID. I got to take this info and move with it. And so I think my level of success is how well am I doing that, or adhering to like these different values. What am I learning and what am I sharing? Am I reaching people that I want to, you know? And I think that's kind of what I'm looking at to be successful through those 4 avenues, you know, through valuing myself, my place, my education, and my movement. And I think that's evolving. Like how I move, what I know. It's like it's so, you know, it's such a variable. And so it's like, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know what it's based around.
Right. That's dope, man. And the fact that at 28 and you did this 3 years ago, so you figured out what you wanted to do, started doing it, and now you're doing it. And you can only grow because you're happy already.
You know, I'm so happy. Everyone knows that when they see me. I can be in a bad mood when the tour starts, looking at the group like, dang, man, who is this? And then as soon as I start talking, everything's changed.
Yeah. So how does a person have that energy all the time? How do you do that? There has to be some kind of work when it comes to your attitude.
I know. I feel like I've always kind of been an optimistic person and excited and trying to get the energy going. You got to come with something, you know. Sometimes I'll say like BYOE, bring your own energy. Like you got to come with some, you know. Yep. And so I know I'm coming with some energy, and I'm excited to do what I do. I think people speak in excitement. You can tell when somebody's excited. You're looking out the window like, what's going on down here? This dude looks excited.
Right.
And so when I'm talking about history, excitement makes people pay attention, makes them like, okay, if this dude is this energetic about this history, we can engage. And I just like to bring that relate to everything I do.
Right.
Energy and enthusiasm. That's just like
That works.
those two work. Those two, you can bring that. It can substitute anything that's lacking.
Yeah.
Oh, you're 5 minutes late. Come in that thing with high level of energy and enthusiasm. Oh, you forgot your shoes, or you forgot the right hat, or you better have the right energy and enthusiasm, and it may be able to right that wrong.
Right.
But come in there and you forgot to bring the boss's coffee, and you got bad energy and you're not excited.
Right.
Like, good luck for you. I mean, you got to come with something.
That's
and
true.
I carry that with me from like all the way through like from middle school and high school and college. Like, I'm going to come with some energy myself, you know, and we can see if it gets matched. But like, we got to go.
I've always said that anybody that is passionate about something makes me interested in whatever it is. Like to have knowledge and have energy about something makes it interesting to people around you who don't give a fuck about it before.
Right, no, that's
I could have never cared about it right before I met you.
Right, and I'm like,
all of a sudden, I'm like, what the hell?
Then you
is
start
this?
telling people, you start looking for it, like, yeah, that's what's going on.
That's what passion and energy will do.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to take that recipe and figure out what it is that we're passionate about and can be energetic about. And then that's how we can give something.
And to let people know whatever those passions may be are okay.
Yep.
You know, like, it's not common to see someone who's 25 years old and looks the way I do talking about Indiana history.
Right.
But that's what I'm passionate about. And the more I talked about that, the more people resonated with that, and the more I was able to encourage people to encourage their to follow their own passions. I don't know if you were still there when we ended today with the kids. I told them, like, hey, I made all this up. At the end of the day, I just made it up. It's me. I did it. People are like, who runs this? Like, me, I did. I made it up. So whatever you want to do, you can make it up.
Right.
And love it.
And it's true.
Right. And love it.
Yeah, because
and
you were showing them.
Yeah, and they're like, okay,
somebody that looks like them.
Can do it. And don't have to worry about just open their mind up to every profession, every job is great, but I just want to open up people's minds to, like, hey, you may have a passion you want to follow, and you could be doing something like me. You don't got to be the richest person in the world, but you're working for yourself and doing well. You know?
That's nice. How can people find you? How can they contact you?
Yeah.
I think you already talked about the email address, but like, how can they get with you and they want to ask you questions, or maybe one person wants to go on a tour?
Yeah, so really, like, a lot of people like to follow me on social media, and I'll be posting different things that I'm doing on there, and like normally posting as walks are going on, and people can comment and ask questions, I guess, reach out to me. But really the best way to talk with me is to come on a walk and talk. That's what I would like prefer, really. And yeah, they cost, but at the end of the day, if you just really want to come and you're on Indiana Avenue and I'm talking and you're out the car, what stops you from following me? You saw that guy today. He was in his car.
Yeah, right.
They honked at him. He was listening to me. I see him out the corner of my eye. I'm like, that light's about to turn.
Right.
I like when this happens. I'm like, that's cool. I'm captivating this guy's at the stoplight. He's hearing this dude talk about history. He's like, what is this?
Yeah.
What's happening? What's going on? Light goes green. And then he gets honked at. He has to go. But it's like he wants to listen. Anyone that's outside can listen to me walk. So, come to Indiana Avenue at the end of the day. Type Sampson Levingston, Indiana Avenue. And if you want to find me, you'll find me.
Right. How can the community, how can your community of friends, social networks help you out?
I'm just sharing what I'm doing, coming on the walks, posting them. Like I said, it's very easy to, not to say it's easy, because I appreciate everybody's support, and you know how it is in different aspects too. It's great to share and like. I love all that. But at the end of the day, I want people to come on the walks. I want to see you on the walks. You like, you know, people like, my boy Samson's killing it. And I'm like, you ain't seen him kill it though. Come see this show. Like I say, this show is, I call it a show, I guess. We still do our shows on the Avenue. It's for people who are my friends and support me individually and have liked seeing me do whatever. Like, come see me be me. And like I say, my purest form. Watch the joy that comes from that. I want you to see this.
They won't be let down.
Show. I want you to see this. So share it, post it, do all that shit. But then
I am a
make
fan.
sure you
I am
come.
a fan, and I am a supporter.
No, I'm glad. No, that is great.
And I got you. My last question is this, and this is a Cali dude asking it.
Okay.
Indianapolis, and I've had people from Indianapolis on the show. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
we in Indy, I hope.
So when I tell people where I live,
Yeah.
I say Indy.
Mhm.
I live in Indy because I live in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
But when you are from Indianapolis, you say you're from
Nap.
Nap.
Yeah.
So why is it Indy or why is it Nap? Like is it
I feel like, well, okay, I'll tell you why right now, actually. So Naptown really was a nickname people would use on the avenue. There was a lady in 1944. She made this dance called the Naptown Boogie. I had a lady on the tour one time. She knew the Naptown Boogie. I wish I had a video. She hit the Naptown Boogie.
she hit it?
And I'm like, and it was kind of like a nickname, like Motown, like Chi-Town.
Yeah.
As Indianapolis downtown became sleepy, Indianapolis, they sometimes call it city.
Indianapolis.
They call it Naptown. It's a sleepy town. There's nothing to do. That was Indy's notoriety. That's how that Naptown.
That's how Nap came.
That's like it start that definition of it started to popularize in the 70s and 80s before we got the Colts, before we moved the Pacers downtown and White River State Park and Circle Center Mall and IUPUI. We were known as a sleepy downtown.
Damn.
You know, like from like a national scale.
Yeah.
Okay. And especially as the avenue is kind of starting to, with the interstate going through there, and that's before we get the Colts. Interstate's completed before that. You know, we're kind of known as this sleepy downtown. Nobody would ever imagine we have the Super Bowl here.
Right.
Nobody would ever have thought that in the 1980s. And so as the city is trying to like rebrand itself as something that's fun and cool, they can't be Naptown. Even though Naptown's still a nickname in like the black jazz community as it started, it's still Nap to us. We've been calling it Naptown. I don't mean it got nothing to do with it being sleepy.
Right.
It's just Naptown. That sounds like a good abbreviation to me.
Right. That's what it is to me.
And then white people looking like, oh, they must want to take a nap. That's it's they're saying Naptown it's a sleepy city.
Like sleeping.
And both added up. Like
So
that Naptown nickname sticks in the black community and people who have kind of been in and through Indianapolis for this whole time. And as people who are coming here trying to brand the city on a national level, this is Indy. This is Indy. This is Indy. It's not Naptown. Y'all wouldn't know why we calling it Naptown. I might confuse y'all.
Okay.
This is Indy. Does that make sense? Y'all know the Indy 500, right? Y'all know Indy cars, right?
Right.
Okay, this is Indy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that did.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out, like, how can we're trying to wake up the sleepers. There's a little documentary called From Naptown to Super City.
Okay.
And so that little, even the name of that doc lets you know the producers of it, the sports core, they know. I don't know if they're exactly the producers. I don't want to say they are if they're not. So maybe they didn't, who knows? But they're assuming that Naptown's a bad nickname.
Yeah.
You know, I can show you articles from 30 years earlier where Naptown's being used in the black newspapers, like, come to Naptown.
Right.
Come see the shows, you know, all that stuff. So it's just kind of crazy.
People be like, I'm from the Nap.
Right.
That doesn't sound bad.
What my kids say from Naptown.
Yeah.
Naptown,
yeah.
But also, like, I'll say I'm Indy all the time and things like that. So,
yeah.
I think,
when I see the store Nap or nothing, I don't think negative.
No,
it's just like I just think the city of Nap or nothing.
Yes, that's what it is. But like I'm telling you, for like the 70s, 80s, we were just known as this Indiana as it goes a town that goes to sleep. Damn. And you from California, you know we ain't up late here. It ain't you know, I even told you myself, I'm not an all-nighter.
Right.
So part of Indiana's we go a little bit slower.
Yeah.
So part of that nickname was kind of rung true if you wanted to look at it that way.
Yep.
But if you wanted to just look at it as this Nap, then it's just Nap.
That's what's up, man. Well, I had a great time, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
You brought the energy.
So, yeah, I'll talk and talk.
And I think you sold the tour.
No, I hope so. I
know you sold the tour, and I guarantee you that people are going to listen to this and just want to go because they enjoy
I've seen people on your page. I'm like, damn, okay, they're going to hear me. All right. What am I going to say?
Yeah, good, man. I'm appreciative that you came, and I'm definitely going to stay in touch with you.
Oh, thank you.
And connect on different levels of different things around the city. But I want everybody to go to followdmoney.com, check out what we got going on. Please follow Sampson on Instagram. Through Two Eyes on Instagram as well.
Yep.
And I want to thank everybody for coming out. We'll see you next week. Oh, wait a minute. Can I say something? I want to talk because we have to shout out Breaking Bread because you go to You go to Gallery Pastry, any Gallery Pastry store, and you want to get a shot or a free shot or a free macaroon, just say #breaking bread. Everybody, keep doing it.
They know.
Keep going.
They know that's on you. That's
on me. That's my thing.
Okay. It's not free, but it might as well be says to me. Shit. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
I keep saying
you do that, you get a free whatever. You can walk in and just say breaking bread.
That's tough.
They'll hook you up.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, that's flair. Okay, I see. I gotta do something like that. Gotta be cheap though. I'm gonna get you a small fry. Say Sampson's name. Say
get a free fry at McDonald's. Say Sampson. Say walk and talk.
Right, say walk and talk. See what they do for you.
Get a taco, a walking taco.
See what they do for you. But appreciate you, man. Glad we can make this happen.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate your time, brother. That's it, J.O.